Let me tell you about a guy and one of the most awkward moments before a keynote speech. He's in the middle of a lobby of this church, and it's in the middle of Amish country. It's an Amish church, and he's about to deliver a sermon, but he's in the lobby and he's looking at the people walking past him. And I'm telling you, they are giving him the side eye. Like they're just suspicious. They're not sure about him. And for good reason. He isn't Amish. He doesn't look Amish. He doesn't sound Amish. And he's supposed to deliver some sort of solution that's supposed to help them in their lives. That is an unbelievably awkward moment. And what's more, this guy, a couple weeks before, had given an incredible speech on a massive stage. And here he is in a completely different context with people who do not think he has the ability to help them solve their problems. Moments like that can be crippling. And moments like that make you realize there is no content that can help you overcome that problem. Welcome to the Dan Owolabi podcast. Now, as a leader, here's what I know about you. You want to connect. You want to connect to the people in front of you. You want to make their life better. You want them to really understand the content that you're delivering. You want them to internalize it in a deep, deep way. You want them to feel something. But here's the problem. When you're preparing your keynotes, when you're preparing your talks to your board, when you're preparing your talks to your team or the company, oftentimes what you and I do, what most people do, is they spend far more time making their points and almost no time thinking about the people that they're actually speaking to. Much more about the points they're going to make, much less time about the people they're actually connecting to. Much more time about their ideas, and a lot less time about the pain that the people in front of them are experiencing. And what happens in moments like that is that you stand up on stage, you stand up in front of your team, you stand up in front of the board, and people look at you and they say, this guy, this lady, she has no idea what the stakes are. She has no idea what I'm experiencing. She has no idea what my personal problems are. And so there you are on stage, kind of giving all this content, but the people who need to hear it most don't believe that you understand them, and they don't believe that you have their best interest at heart. That's one of the most critical challenges of being a leader, being able to connect with people and helping them understand that you get their pain. It's not just about the points you're making. It's about their pain and how your points can actually help solve their problems. You see, in moments like that, when you're focused on your points and not their pain, you can feel it in the moment. You can actually feel it because it's almost like every word you say is sort of bouncing off of their force field. Like it's not resonating, it's not connecting, it's not penetrating. And so you can feel yourself losing the audience in real time. You felt that way. I felt that way before. And what happens is you get into a situation where now you're talking at people as opposed to talking to people. You're talking about a topic as opposed to talking about a particular person who's dealing with a particular problem. You see, in those moments, you can feel yourself slipping. And that, I'm telling you, on stage, real time, when you feel yourself slipping like that, I've been there. That's one of the worst feelings you can have as a speaker. All right, now, confession time. The guy in the back of the lobby, that was me. I know. It was me again. And here's the thing. It was just such an unbelievable moment because I had just gotten off the stage at the Global Leadership Summit, right? So here I am in the back of this lobby of this Amish church, and they've asked me to come in and speak. And I'm looking around, and I'm telling you, I'm getting all the looks, right? A, because I don't look Amish. And so people are wondering, what's this guy doing here? And then B, the sense that I'm the speaker, but what do I have to say to them that's going to help them solve their particular problem? And again, I just got off the Global Leadership Summit stage. So, just a couple weeks ago, I'm speaking to 400,000 people on this massive stage, giving this incredibly charismatic talk at the top of my lungs. And then a couple weeks later, I'm sitting in this Amish church talking to 150 people. Now, in that moment, I've got a choice, right? So you have a choice if you were me. You've got a choice. I've got a choice. We can either give the Global Leadership Summit talk, or we can do something different. We can realize that the people in front of us have a particular problem. There's a particular pain that they're trying to solve. And instead of giving the polished, delivered, this is the canned answer that I think I'm going to give to your particular problem, you focus less on the content and more on the connection. And fortunately, that's what I did. So I got up on stage and I took my voice down a couple levels. And I didn't give the polished talk. In fact, I think I stood behind the podium more than I would have ever. But I made sure that I was connecting with them as much as possible. I told jokes about the city that they were in. I made fun of myself. I really sort of connected with them in a personal level. And so then when I finally got to the content, the guard was down. They felt like I knew who they were, that I cared about their problem, that I understood where they were coming from, that I knew what was at stake for them. And so when I finally delivered the solution, they were locked in. And I'm telling you, as great as it was to speak at the Global Leadership Summit, right? As a speaker, that is like the pinnacle. It doesn't get much higher than that. It's like playing in the NBA. It just feels incredible. But to speak at the Global Leadership Summit and then to turn around and effectively communicate to a group of Amish people who are dealing with a very specific problem and to help them solve that problem, I'm telling you, that felt like the pinnacle. That felt like the moment that I could communicate to almost anyone, anywhere, and help them do almost anything. Now, here's what most people do. They lead with their content. They lead with their expertise. They lead with their resume. When they think about going on stage, they think about preparing themselves to look good in front of all these people. They make sure their slides are in order. They make sure all the things are ready to go. And it's all about making themselves appear more competent, appear more credible, appear more trustworthy. And here's the big idea behind all of it. It's around this belief that people need to buy into you, that you are the product that you're delivering. But the reality is that's actually not the case. People don't buy into you. They buy into themselves. They buy into themselves and the problem that they're dealing with right now. And your relevance, the only reason why you matter, is because you have some ability, hopefully, to solve the problem that's right in front of their nose. Your relevance is only dependent on their problem. You see the difference there? It's not about your expertise. It's not about your resume. It's not about you becoming more trustworthy. When you do that, it's almost as if you're talking at people. And you're surprised then why nothing ever connects. But the truth is, it's not about any of that. It's about your ability to take all that you know, all that you've learned, the solutions you've found, the frameworks you've developed, the stories you tell, and you point it directly at the problem that they feel. And when you can do that, and you can hit the problem right where it counts, right where they can feel it, and deliver a solution that actually matters, well, suddenly, now you're relevant. Now people buy into you because they first bought into your ability to solve their problem. If you and I were hanging out for any length of time, you would start to hear almost right away one of my personal passions. I love helping executives, entrepreneurs, and owners build businesses that benefit their communities. And if that's you, if you're building something that's going to make a difference in your community, I would love to help you with that. I would love to have my organization, Branches, help you with that. Make sure you click the link in the show notes and tell us a little bit more about what we can do to help you. We work with people all over the globe, helping them fine-tune their businesses, helping them generate more revenue, helping them figure out how to lead their teams with excellence. I'd love to help you do the same thing. So here's what I want you to know. You have to read the audience before you can reach the audience. Let me say that again. You have to read the audience before you can reach the audience. The best communicators in the world are not obsessed with delivering information. That's not it. They're focused on delivering a solution to people's specific problems. They understand the people in front of them so well that as they're talking, they're feeling the person's pain. They get where they're coming from. They understand what's at stake for the people in front of them. And as they're communicating, they understand that every word they say is authentic and genuine because they actually understand what the people are going through. It's like this. Like, imagine the people that you're talking to. Imagine they're walking around with a rock in their shoe. They've been walking around with a rock in their shoe for a long time. In fact, so long that they've almost forgot that it's even there. But it's still painful. It still hurts. It still aches. As a speaker, one of the most important things that you can do is you can call attention to the rock. And you can say, I get it. I see you. You have a rock in your shoe. And that's why you've done A, B, C, X, Y, Z. That's why you've walked with a limp. That's why things are so challenging. And you've pointed out that one thing that they've noticed, that they felt, but no one else has ever named out loud. And when you name that in front of all those people that they're talking to, suddenly they feel seen and they lean in a way that nothing else can match. And everything you say after recognizing the rock in the shoe is a solution to their problem. And I'm telling you, they are locked in. Again, not because you're so amazing, not because you've got great content. You've seen their pain. You've recognized who they are. You've read the audience. And now you have the opportunity to reach the audience. And in moments like that, trust me, I've been there. I felt it. You can feel the mood in the room shift. You can feel everyone's anxiety lower. You can feel the trust between you and the audience increase. And suddenly you go from a stranger on a stage to a friend in the seat next to them. And all they want is the solution that you have to offer. That's how you make a difference. That's how you read the room before you reach the room. And how do you do that? Name the rock and then remove the rock. That's it. That governs your prep time. That governs the topic that you pick. That governs how you actually communicate when you're on stage. Name the rock and remove the rock. You see, that does a number of different things. Number one, it removes insecurity. When you're on stage, you're not thinking about how you're presenting. You're not thinking about how you look. You're not thinking about whether you look like you're somebody who's credible. You're thinking about helping them solve a problem. That is all you're thinking about. You're thinking about removing the rock for them. You see, when you do that, it's not about you at all. It's about the solution you're there to deliver. The other thing it does is it helps you focus in on the actual pain points that people are experiencing. One of the biggest challenges that I've seen in speakers of all kinds of stripes, whether you're a pastor, whether you're a public speaker, whether you're a professor, is that you fall in love with your content more than you fall in love with the characters who are in front of you. You think more about the actual text that you're dealing with as opposed to the problems that those people actually need to solve. When you flip that around and you say the content that I have is only valuable insofar as it actually helps people solve a problem, then everything changes. And now what you do is you take everything that you know, all that you've learned, all that you are learning, and you aim it at helping people as much as you possibly can. And that kind of posture, well, that changes the way that you deliver every keynote. And the people in front of you, they can feel it. You genuinely care about who they are, where they're headed, and how you can help them get there faster. Here's one thing that I love. It really actually comes down to this. You've got to research their pain before you research your points. Let me say that again. You've got to research their pain before you research your points. And it's not about you just guessing what their pain is. It's not about you just assuming what they're going through. It's about you actually understanding what they're going through. And that might mean giving somebody a call. That might mean actually going on site. That might mean doing a lot of research with people who've actually experienced the thing that you're about to talk about. But it's doing the research on their pain first and then your points second. And let me tell you when this has actually come up for me a lot. Oftentimes when you're speaking to a group of people, you can misunderstand what their pain is. There have been times where people have called me in years ago when I was speaking to youth groups and, like teen groups around the world and around the country. People would have me come in and they would say, hey, this is what these teens are experiencing right now. And inevitably, it would always be an adult that would tell me what they wanted their teens to hear. This is what they need to hear from you. And if I followed their advice, what that always led me to was some sort of adult pointing at teens saying, you guys better get off your phones. You guys better stop having sex, like something like that. That the teens are like, come on, man. But when I took the time to actually call those teens to ask them what they were going through, I didn't hear them say, oh, I wish I wasn't on my phone as much. I wish I had less social problems. They talk about loneliness and isolation and fear of the future and anxiety. They talked about all the things that were essentially rocks in their shoe. And when I could then in front of them point out each one of those rocks and say, let me just call out the fact that this isn't easy for you, then they were far more receptive to hear me talk about the reasons why they need to get off their phones and the reason why they need to do this and do that. Because I understand what they're going through and I'm offering a solution to their felt need, their actual problem. And so before you research your points, you've got to understand and research their pain. So here's the second thing. Once you actually understand their pain, and now you've also researched your points, when you're up there talking to people, you've got to make sure that you express how much and how clearly you understand their pain. You've got to describe it so viscerally, so clearly that they're like, well, you must have experienced something exactly like I did, or you must know someone, or you must be reading my email. Like, how do you know? Like, are you in my phone? Are you tracking me? They've got to understand that you get them so well that they're nodding their head and they're saying, I've never heard it described that way, but that's exactly how I feel. In the very first block in your talk, let's say your talk has multiple parts, and the very first part of your talk, you have to establish that you get them. And when you do that, when you say that I'm in the boat with you, that I get you, suddenly you find out that when you've joined them, now you have the permission to lead them. It's only after you connect and you're able to say, I get you. I understand what you're going through. I see the rock in your shoe, is when you get the opportunity and the permission to lead them. Let me give you a pro tip. This one is for free. You've got to find a way to make them feel like you authentically get them. You do get them. Like, you've done your research. You understand their pain. But you've got to find a way to help them feel that early. One of the best ways to do that is to actually show up early, is to watch them walk into the lobby, is to talk to people one-on-one, is to ask, hey, tell me about what you like about working here. Tell me about what you're going through right now. Tell me about how you feel about where we're going next. How do you feel about where this organization is going next? You start to understand them and you get these specific details that when you're on stage, you can actually use. You can say things like, yeah, I was talking to one woman named, we'll call her Sally, and she said blah, blah, blah. Or I was going past the gas station and I had a drink that you guys all love. And there's all kinds of small things that you can talk about when you're there early, when you learn the actual context that you're in, when you find a way to connect with people. One of the most important things that you can do is you can find those local, small, personal details, and you can pull it out in the talk, and you can give people the feeling that you get them. And that gives you all the credibility you need to move into the next phase. And come on now, I mean, you know this works. Like, if you've ever been to a comedy show, oftentimes the comedian who's from out of town will reference something in your town. They'll be like, hey, how about that mall? Or how about that football team? Or how about that whatever? And people will immediately give some sort of reaction. Like, that's just a human thing, right? That's a great way to demonstrate that you genuinely understand the circumstances and the situation that the people are in, who are in front of you. Presidents do this really, really well. Like, if you've ever gone to a presidential speech or a presidential rally, they'll spend a lot of time before their actual speech talking to the people, shaking hands, looking people in the eye, developing rapport, hearing stories that when they're on stage, then they'll actually use that content. And then you've seen it actually go really bad. Like, if you've ever heard somebody, at a concert say, hello, Chicago. And someone's like, we're not in Chicago, buddy. We're in Indianapolis. Like, moments like that, those are embarrassing. And they're embarrassing because we all know the value of making those local personal connections. The stakes are high. So when you flub it, oh man, everybody can feel it. That's why it's so important to nail it. Dream with me for a second. Imagine what it would look like for you to walk into your next meeting and walk in not with information, but internalization. You really understand what the people in front of you are feeling. That's your first area of expertise. You get them clearly. The information comes second, but the internalization of their problem is unbelievably clear. Imagine what it would look like for you to actually identify the rock in their shoe, for them to feel like you get them so deeply, so personally, that whatever solution you offer next is directly applicable to a pain that they've currently been feeling. Imagine what it would be like for you to get on stage and to look at people in the eye and not be worried about your information, not worried about your content, but think only about connection. How can I help develop a sense of conviction in these people? How can I connect in a way that moves them to action? How can I identify their pain and help them move towards a solution? You see, you can do all of those things But the question you have to ask yourself is, what needs to change about your communication to prioritize their pain before your points, to prioritize their problems before your presentation? What does it look like to actually put those people first before anything else? Here's the big question. What do you need to do differently? What has to change about how you prepare your talks, how you think about your audience, how you research your points, how you understand their pain? What needs to shift? What needs to happen right now so that the next time you get on stage, you are more potent, you connect clearer, and you develop a sense of conviction in people? What needs to change? And here's a better question for you. What's stopping you? Why not now? Why not make those changes right now so that when you communicate, you resonate and people feel your presence more than they feel your content? They feel like you understand who they are, what they're going through, and how you can help them get further, faster in life. Here's one more thing for you. Now, you know this and I know this. Public speaking is one of the most terrifying things for people. In fact, for you to even have the courage to get up on stage is mind-blowing for most people. So for you to be able to do it really well, that's another level of challenge. I get it. I understand where you're coming from. This is not easy. The good news is you don't have to do it on your own. So there are two things that I want you to do right now that will help you get better at connecting and resonating with people. Number one, like and subscribe. You see, we talk about this kind of stuff all day long on the Dan Owolabi podcast. It's all about helping you become a better leader. And so ultimately, communication is a huge part of that. And so when you follow, the next time an episode like this drops, you'll be the first one to see it. Here's the second thing. Go into the show notes and click on the link to Branches Consulting. One of the things I love about our team is that we love helping executives, entrepreneurs, and owners all over the world lead better. And so for you, if you're looking to be a better communicator, if you're looking to be a better leader, a better executive, all of those things, executive coaching from our team might be right up your alley. Go ahead and click the link in the show notes and you'll get more information about what it looks like to work with our team.